Hello everyone, Courtney Swain here, and today I wanted to let everyone know about the group I started on Facebook. The name of the group is How to Spot Mr. Wrong and Save Yourself Valuable Time. That is the name of my group. Now the purpose of the group is, this is a support group designed for single women ages 13 and up who want to know how to tell if a guy is the right one for them, in most cases in the first conversation. I'm here to inform and enlighten young girls and women on how to avoid the traps of the dating world today and to successfully survive it without anger and frustration. We need to stop with all the dating tips that teach us what the man wants. You know, you see them in the grocery stores, you know, when you're in line, you know, top 10 things that men like, top 10 things men don't like, their turn-ons, their turn-offs, what to do to get one, what to keep one, you know, on and on and on. We need to stop with all that, because when you follow those tips, what you're doing is you're focusing on what he wants and his needs and what to do to please him. And most of us, you know, we never take the time to figure out what we want. Not just in a man, but in life, period. Because if we don't know what we want, and you're out there just following these tips to try to get this man, in reality, what's going on there is that he's not even dating you, he's dating the person you're pretending to be. So you have to first focus on you and know what you want. And we have to avoid focusing on him so much and start focusing on ourselves. And getting our mind right and learning to love ourselves more and getting a set of standards and learning our worth. I know a lot of young girls are not raised up to be taught these things, and a lot of cases, you know, we're growing up around women who don't know either. So we're seeing their example. If they're dealing with men that aren't treating them right, whether it's your father or a stepfather or mama's boyfriend or what have you, and you see them putting up with that, so you as a young girl, that impression is left on you that this is how men act, and if I want to, and as you get older, if you want to date, a lot of us tend to accept that not being treated right, disrespected, being put down, you know, so on and so forth is the normal way that men act, and we just have to deal with it, which is not true. We have to stop falling for the lies of men that they tell you as well, because you have to understand, guys will tell you anything. They will lie to you with a straight face to get what they want. They don't care. They don't have any qualms about it. Now, I'm not speaking of all guys, because there are some good ones out there. I'm specifically talking about the Mr. Wrong, the one that's not right for you. In most cases, Mr. Wrong usually is not right for any woman. That's what I'm focusing on today. But as I said, this is not a man bashing, because I personally know several good men, and what I've noticed is the good men will agree with a woman when she lists the reasons why she don't trust men or the negative things. The good man will agree with you because he's a good man. He has friends too, and his friends do stuff wrong and he sees stuff. So a good one will agree with you. The bad ones will be the ones that get offended. So that's another way to tell the right from the wrong. If they're offended if you say you don't trust men, if they're offended when you say you're sick of lies and stuff that guys have told you, you know, that's a red flag right there. You need to definitely pay attention to that. Now I'm going to get into the topic of the day. The topic of today is married men. Ladies, we have to stop believing the lies. As soon as you find out he's married, you need to cut off all contact with this person. Stop listening to the lies. You know how a lot of the lies go with married men. My wife doesn't understand me. My wife doesn't treat me right. I'm only with her for the kids. I'm going to get a divorce. I just don't have the money right now. You know, blah, blah, blah. The list goes on. The bottom line is this. If all those lies were true and he was truly unhappy with this woman, he would have found a way to divorce her a long time ago. And as far as staying with her for the kids, if he's a good man and he's providing and taking care of his family, he would get visitation, or maybe in some cases custody of his kids, he would still have time to see his kids. Okay, so we have to stop falling for all of those lies. What's really going on is that this man wants his cake and eat it too. He knows as a single woman, you can replace him quicker than he can replace you. You're the single woman. You are out there dating. You're out and about. Some guy may try to talk to you. You know, that happens with single women. Even married women, people will get hit on. Women get hit on, period. So it's not hard for women to get out there and date. And with you being single, you know, you have the space and the time, because you don't have the commitment of the marriage, to get out there and date and get to know people and so on and so forth. But him being married, he doesn't have that type of time. Okay, he got to try to squeeze it in where he can, you know, because he's married. In most cases, they have kids too, so he has a family at home, and that wife is expecting him home within a certain time of getting off of work. So he doesn't have the free time like you do, the single woman. That's why I say it's easier for you to replace him quicker than it is for him to replace you. And he knows that. He's just hoping you don't realize that. That's the trick right there. Also know this. He will always tell you that there's problems in his marriage to give you that false hope, so you'll keep hanging in there with him. I heard a story once where the woman on the side wrote in to a radio station asking for advice about a married man she's with. And over the years, yes, I said it, years, he kept telling her the very lies that I mentioned earlier. And she even had a child with this man, who at the time of her writing the letter is grown. The child's already grown out there, graduated college, and living their life. And she's still sitting there waiting on this man. According to her letter, her words, it had been over 20 years. And she was still wondering if he was ever going to leave his wife. Over 20 years of her life, ladies, waiting on this man, living off his lies, believing this, had a child with him, raised a child. You already know she primarily raised that child by herself. He probably snuck out when he could to see the child, maybe, but we already know the one who raised that child is her. Okay, there was another story of a woman waiting on a married man for years. Now, she didn't specify how many years. She just said she had been waiting years on this man, and this man actually, he did eventually get a divorce. But here's the kick in the teeth. He divorced his wife and married another woman, not the sideline, but he married another woman. And according to the sideline woman, the woman he married after he left his wife, he dated her for 2 years, then they got married. So she wasn't waiting years and years of her life on this man. You have to understand, as you can see from these stories, the married man is never going to suddenly say, you know what, I've been wasting years of this woman's life on the side that's been waiting on me. Let me do the right thing and finally get a divorce and marry her, or set her free so she could go ahead and marry someone else, or go on and meet and date and marry, what have you. He's not going to say that. You have to understand, he's going to keep holding on to you as long as you let him. Okay? They don't suddenly develop a conscience after all those years that you feel that you've invested in waiting on this married man. He will hold on to you to your grave. You will go to your grave, and you would have went to your grave waiting on this man if you allowed them to hold up your life like that. Okay? So thinking he's suddenly going to develop a moral conscience is never going to happen. The only one that can set you free from this situation is you, period. Okay? Ladies, we have to ask the tough questions in the beginning. I understand the beginning when you're starting to date, it's great, it's wonderful, he's on his best behavior, you're on your best behavior. You know, you're so happy because everything is so wonderful because that's the honeymoon period, and you don't want to ask any questions because you don't want to ruin a good thing. That's the time you need to ask these questions. You have to ask the tough questions to save yourself valuable time. Number one, are you married? If he's married, end of discussion, end of date. You need to get a believe right then and there. Dating, I would say take your own car or get a car. That way I wouldn't have him pick me up, on the first date, because you don't know this person. So therefore, if you ask these questions and he says something you don't like, you're not stuck. Like, oh God, I want to leave now and I got to wait for him to take me home. I would say take your own car, meet him at the restaurant or what have you. If you don't have a car, see if you can borrow one from somebody. Therefore, that allows you to make an exit if the date is not going well, okay? But as I said, you have to ask the tough questions. Are you married? Okay? If he is married, leave it, end it. If he's not married, is he seeing anybody? Okay? You need to ask these tough questions. If he's not seeing anybody, okay, good. Does he have any kids? If he has kids and he has more than one, you need to ask. Or how many different mothers, you know, for these kids. You have to ask him. You'll find out a lot if you take the time to ask those questions from the beginning. You will save yourself a lot of time. A lot of time. Don't be afraid to ask these tough questions. You avoid a lot right from the beginning. In the first date, in the first conversation, you need to ask these questions. That's how you save yourself valuable time being with the wrong guy. When you take the time to ask these questions right from the beginning. Okay? Also understand this. On the first date, he has no invested time with you. You have no invested time with him. He doesn't know you. You don't know him. Okay? Therefore, since he hasn't invested any time with you, he doesn't know you. He doesn't know where this date's going to go. He doesn't know if this is just going to be one date or if it's going to turn into something. So that's where he will be the most open to tell you the truth. If you wait too far into it and start asking these questions, now he's gotten to know you. He feels like he's invested some time. You know, he wants to make sure he keeps you around. So that's where you're most likely to get the most lies if you wait too long. Not saying that they can't lie to you on the first date. Some of them do. I'm just saying they're most open on that first date because they haven't invested any time with you. It's just the first date. The name of my group, once again, is How to Spot Mr. Wrong and Save Yourself Valuable Time. The link will be underneath this video, so you could go ahead. For those of you that have a Facebook, you can go ahead and join the group. For those of you that don't, you know, you would have to set up a Facebook account to join this group. But there's a lot of informative dating advice and tips and things to help you, pointers and things to help you look out for. Until next time, you have a good day.